I've had several people read through his books and find that they were able to get rid of their their back pain and poor circulation, and were able to improve their lives in various ways. So even like migraine headaches, abdominal migraines, all those kind of things. Well, it's a different me than it was. I've changed a lot.
Let's see. There we go. Look at that handsome fella right there. Guess who that is?
My brother just found it and sent it to me.
All right, you better show it again. We have more people hopping on.
Okay.
All right, everyone. This is
this is the before. Doctor. This is the before picture, and this is the after picture. Before, then after.
Your ears got lowered. Looks like since then, or well,
that was in like 1978.
Wow, right? You didn't have ears back then. Now you have ears.
Now I have ears.
Yeah. Wow.
Cool. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar. And we are on episode 145 today. I was not here last week, so it's good to be back. I'm actually still on vacation, but I interrupted my vacation because I needed to learn from these guys too. So looks like we have quite a few people hopping on here still. Say hello, let us know where you are hopping in from. And I want to know if this is your first time here, or if you've been around for a while, let us know. Those of you on Facebook, you can do the same. This is, again, the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar, where we talk about all things type 2, some type 1. And then every other week, we have a specific topic that we chat about. And our Dr. Saunders teaches us, he helps us, he gives us advice. And guess what? It's free. I know, it's crazy.
It's worth it. It's worth every penny.
Yeah, we might be changing that. We've been talking about that. Like, this is very valuable. And when you give stuff away for free, people don't value it as much. So,
well, in the meantime, even if we do switch it up, there are still 145 episodes on our YouTube channel that you can watch. And guys, we've covered so many things. We've had all of you guys ask questions. And Dr. Saunders has been able to help so many of you. And I get emails all the time from people who are just thankful that they've been able to find some alternative methods to take care of their type 2, or just to have this community here where they can learn together, grow together, share ideas. And so it's really invaluable. We are glad that you're here. And I'm excited. We're going to learn some more today. Feel free to ask questions in the Q&A. That's the easiest place for us to kind of navigate those. And then on Facebook, I'll do my best to try to answer them there as well. But yeah, I think that's it for me. Actually, let's do a disclaimer as well. Dr. Saunders, would you mind doing that for us today?
Okay. So the information you get here is general information for a general audience. And the idea of this is to listen and find out information that may apply to you. And then you might work with your professional, whoever's helping you, and say, does this apply to me? Is that the right thing for me? Because I can't give specific information to you on this in this format.
Awesome. Okay, so there are so many of you on here. All my friends are here. This is awesome. Garcia's, Aileen. I saw Jane is on here, but her volume isn't working. So she's going to catch up on YouTube. Dell is on. Hello, Dell. So many. Dave and Cindy. See, these are like the original crew. I shouldn't say that. They've all been on here each week. And I love learning from these guys. So guys, if you want to share, you can even share in the comments. Let everyone know how long you've been doing this, kind of a quick recap of where you're at today, because it's so encouraging for those who are just getting started. For the most part, we were talking about our diabetes solution kit. For those of you who aren't familiar, maybe Jill will have you hold that up. I didn't bring that with me on vacation. I should have done that. But there's our diabetes solution kit. And so you'll hear people say, I'm on phase 1 or phase 2, or I just got started a couple of weeks ago and these are my results. This is basically what they're talking about. The Diabetes Solution Kit, you can find information about this webinar and the kit at bartonwebinar.com. I'll post that in the chat. But people are taking this information that Dr. Saunders has put together. This is the same information that he gives his patients in his office. They're using it. They are making the commitment to stick with it to better their lives, and they're having amazing results and success. So we want that for you guys too. If you're new here today and you're kind of just stuck or you're sick of feeling the way you feel, you've come to the right place. So we're going to chat a little bit more about that. And feel free to read some of these comments. What's up, Joe?
I had a quick thought. So last week we had a question that came up. Somebody asked if A1C numbers are different for male versus female, and I was going to add to that. As I was looking at the cover of the Diabetes Solution Kit, it's like we've got a very diverse mix of people here, racially, gender, etc. And we value diversity, but let's talk about that with diabetes type 2 specifically. I've seen statistics where African-American, Mexican, and some other ethnicities are higher on the charts for whatever reason. And could you talk about why that is, and also male, female in that?
Okay, so that is really interesting. So you mentioned a couple, and the South Pacific Islands, very common also among that group of people, and certain tribes of what we call tribes of American, of Native Americans, or American Indians, I was going to say, Native Americans, certain tribes have predisposed, whereas other ones are not. So it's not like you can put large groups of people in, but yes, there is a genetic predisposition. And so if you carry the gene, then you can pass it down to your children. But here's a really interesting thing: it's not just genes. The genes is the hardwiring, but there's something called epigenetics, which is when that gene is turned on or turned off. So, for example, they did this with rats first, where they looked at rats, if the moms had the predisposition to diabetes and they fed the moms on a high carbohydrate diet, then the children had a rate of diabetes of that would be expected. You know, the 60% of them got diabetes. But if they took that same mom rat and fed the mom on a very low carbohydrate diet, then her babies would not get diabetes. They had the diabetes rate at 20%, which is more average, even though they had the same hardwiring genetic predisposition. So diabetes running in families or ethnicities and all that, yes, the genes have something to do with it, but the bigger picture is the epigenetics, or what your lifestyle is. So there's two things that parents pass down to their children besides genes. The genes themselves is whether that gene is turned on or turned off in the mom or dad can affect the children, but also the lifestyle that the mom or dad have, the foods they eat, the restaurants they go to, the things they like to do or not do, exercise they do or not, all of that stuff. The lifestyle is the other thing that's also passed down. So when you're looking at ethnicities or families or groups or countries where you see high rates of diabetes, there's a lot more factors involved than just that gene, the hardwiring of the gene.
Very interesting. Yeah. I wasn't sure if there was any weather related issues, if it gets really hot in the South, so people are more likely to just be out on the porch or drinking.
It's possible. I don't know about weather. And then the other thing you asked is men and women. And again, it's the same kind of thing. There is a difference between men and women. And but for different reasons. Men tend to, if they're more active, then they tend to have less diabetes. If they're less active, then they tend to have more. And so activity level would have more to do with that than anything else.
All right. I just posted bartonwebinar.com in the chat so you guys can see that. If you want to go back and watch any of our past episodes, or if you want to find information about some of the products that we're going to be talking about, but we are already getting questions that are coming in. One thing I want to do really quickly, just because I think this is such good information, Dr. Saunders, will you just give us a quick overview of type 1 and type 2?
Okay. It's unfortunate that we use the same words of diabetes for type 1 and type 2 because they're really kind of opposite illnesses. Yes, they're both metabolic illnesses, and both of them have high levels of blood sugar, high levels of sugar in the blood. And the word diabetes means peeing too much. And so you have, getting up at night 5 times to urinate, all that kind of stuff. And so they do have things in common, but the underlying condition of what each one of them is completely different. In fact, opposite. Diabetes type 2 is a problem of too much sugar, too much fat, too much protein, carbohydrate, too much carbohydrates, too much insulin, too much glucagon. It's just too much generally. So people get toxic. And then when they get toxic, they get insulin resistant. And insulin resistant makes the blood sugar go up, and voila, they have diabetes because their blood sugar went up, right? Diabetes type 1 is too little, not enough. So it's not enough insulin. The pancreas is not making enough. The islet cells aren't working. So then you have that issue of, if you don't have enough, then what do? Well, the insulin is required to get sugar into the cells, and if it won't go into the cells, then the blood sugar goes up. So you have the same issue, blood sugar going up, blood sugar going up. But one is because you have too much of everything and all the insulin is being blocked, and the other one is you don't make insulin, so it can't work. So it's not working. So it's unfortunate we use the same name, but that's the way it is. And so it's important to consider that we're really talking about type 1 here. That's really what we're discussing, or I'm sorry, type 2. But 1 is because you have too much. A problem of too much, yeah. Whereas type 1 can be considered, but remember, if you don't make enough insulin, you have to have insulin, and you may have to inject insulin, and a lot of people do.
Okay, good information. We're starting to get some questions. Again, you guys can post those in the Q&A. That's kind of the best place for me to find those. Let's go ahead and dig into some of these questions, and then I think Dr. Saunders will be able to kind of teach us a little bit more about what's happening in our body and how to manage this. So let's see here. I'm going to quick do this one here from Krish. There was a question last week about glaucoma and diabetics, and someone had referred to an area on home cures that work. And I don't think Krish was able to find it. Do you have any advice on where it might be specifically?
Home cures that work. There was an article that was written recently, so it's going to be, it's this year. I think it was even April, May, somewhere in there, okay, where it was posted. So it's fairly recent.
Okay, and Krish, I think you had posted simplecuresthatwork.com. It'll be under homecuresthatwork.com. Now that I'm looking at that, maybe that's why you didn't find it. So check that out, Home Cures That Work. That would be a good place to go. Okay, this is an update from Velo. We have been on board for almost 4 months. So they're 4 months into using the Diabetes Solution Kit, and both of them are well into phase 3 already, which is amazing. They do go back into phase 1 depending on our blood tests. They're still trying to figure out what works best for them on phase 3. And that's one of the really awesome things about the Diabetes Solution Kit is that people stick with phase 1 until they get their numbers to where they want them to be. And then they move into phase 2, phase 3, where they start reintroducing some other things, seeing how their body responds to various foods, etc. And then if they get into trouble, it's real easy. They've already figured out how to do phase 1, so they know how to go back. And that's kind of the beauty of the program. You get to really figure out what works best for you. And just like Dr. Saunders said, when we did this disclaimer, everyone is a little bit different. And so I feel like this program is so good because you really get to get in touch with yourself and figure out how you work best. So it isn't a one size fits all for everyone. And this kind of teaches you to see how you work. So Thomas is wondering, do we have a way of helping with prostate early stage with my father-in-law? He had it 10 years ago and it came back last week.
So like prostate cancer or whatever, the prostate gland it needs is zinc primarily. And so it's really important. It's kind of like if you think of iodine is to the thyroid as zinc is to the prostate. So the prostate gland can get very enlarged if it doesn't have enough, if there isn't enough zinc around. So that's kind of important. So making sure that you have enough zinc. And then there's several different kinds of herbs, saw palmetto and pygeum that are very useful, pumpkin seeds. There are herbs that can shrink the prostate, but as far as prostate cancer goes, there was one interesting study on EGCG, which is an extract of green tea. It's a green tea extract, which seemed to make a big difference in preventing or even reversing early prostate cancer. So those are the kinds of things that I've read about that can be helpful. Again, everyone's different, so it depends on that individual situation.
Okay. Here's a message from Susanna. Hi, my name is Susanna. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic with an A1C of 5.7. I'm looking for something to help reverse it. I'm 56 years old, exercise 5 days a week, and I am not overweight.
See, that's a good question. Everybody kind of makes an assumption that, oh, you're pre-diabetes, you're overweight and you don't exercise, you're sitting on the couch all the time. And so get up and exercise and lose some weight. Well, what if you're not overweight and you are exercising and you got this pre-diabetes? What the heck? That's really important. So that's why we were discussing before, we've done whole webinars on this. You need testing. You got to find out what's going on, because in some cases you're going to have insulin resistance, and in some cases you're going to have your pancreas isn't making enough insulin. So that's kind of like, they call it type 1.5, where you're making a little bit of insulin, but it's not enough. And so you act like a type 2, but you really have some insulin. So testing in that kind of a case, that's really important, because it's not obvious why. So finding out why is this prediabetes and what happened there.
Okay. Let's see. This might be a message. I'm not sure who this is from. Maybe Dell. I think I ended up getting diabetes after being diagnosed with MS. At one point, I ended up on a great round of steroids. Is it possible that the steroids messed up my pancreas? In which case, would my children end up eventually with it too? They don't have it now. Their ages range from 30 to 35.
Oh, that's really interesting. So, that goes into the genetic thing. So answer to the first question, yes, definitely steroids do cause diabetes because they make you insulin resistant. And so it's kind of taking high doses of steroids for a period of time starts the process of insulin resistance, that vicious cycle that gets worse and worse and worse, because the more insulin resistant you are, The more your blood sugar goes up, makes you you make more insulin, and then your blood sugar goes up, and then you're more insulin resistant, and that process of and that can be initiated by stress. We talked about, as one of my patients, it was just totally a stress diabetic, and when her stress went away, her blood sugar was perfectly normal. So yes, but then your question number 2 is, does that transfer to my children? The answer is no, unless your children were in the womb or conceived during the time that you were on the steroids. That is a possibility, because remember, that's the epigenetics, and that's the environment that they're in, that they were conceived and grew up in. So at ages 30, that's not an issue. But if they get put on steroids, that's still a possibility.
Okay, we have another question here from Paul. My doctor has told me that if my meal after meal glucose reading is as high as 180, that's okay. My thinking is that if I want my A1C to be at 7 or lower, then my after meal reading should be much lower than that. Am I correct?
You are totally correct. Totally correct. Your after meal blood sugar reading should definitely be below 120. And that's non-diabetic. And so what we're taught as physicians is that, it's okay to be on the high side. But in the long run, that's actually not a good idea, because that's where all the complications come in, where people go blind and they have amputations and they get Alzheimer's disease. And so you want to avoid the complications. So it's important to get things normal, to normalize them as much as possible. And it's entirely possible, as you've seen with a lot of people on the Diabetes Solution Kit.
Right. Here is a great note from Dave and Cindy. We've been on the program for 4 months and are still in phase 1. I have lost 50 pounds and my glucose has gone from 136 to 129 and is currently 98. I'm still working on getting my glucose down below 90. I had my blood drawn yesterday and I'm looking forward to seeing my A1C number.
Oh, darn. I was hoping to hear the A1C number. But that's amazing. That's cool. That number less than 100 is actually considered normal. So that's remarkable, in 4 months to have that kind of reversal. That's great.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Awesome.
Great job. Okay. Let's see. Dell says, my children were not conceived during the steroids. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm getting all of these here. Okay. Lawrence is asking, it says, talk about the Duke protocol. Went to the Duke website, could not locate, would like to get a copy. I'm not familiar with that.
The Duke protocol? I'm not familiar with that either.
Okay. Vilo says this program is too simple.
The Duke protocol is the masterclass that we talk about on the masterclass page with the videos that Dr. Saunders did.
Oh.
There's references linked at the bottom of that page. We'd probably have to revisit that again, though. But the product itself is the same thing. It's the same diabetes solution kit. We just have a different marketing page that talks about more of the detox. It's the detox masterclass, and Dr. Saunders, you've talked about detoxing quite a bit in the past.
Because remember, type 2 is toxicity.
You're going to hear a lot about detoxing and fasting on this webinar too. So maybe we should just chat even a little bit about that. We get a lot of questions about fasting. And so let's chat about that for a minute. Why would it be beneficial for a type 2 diabetic to fast? And how would they do that?
Yeah, so one of the things, like in medical school, we're told definitely never fast, because especially if you're diabetic, because your blood sugar could drop too low. But with type 2, your chances of dropping low are slim to none. It just doesn't really happen because of the insulin resistance. And so you have to work through the insulin resistance. And that's one of the best things that fasting does. If you were to think of all of the wonderful things of modern medicine and what it does, and it's great. My daughter was hit in the eye with a baseball, and she's got her eyes all puffed out and everything, and so she goes to the ER and they get sutures, and put her all back together, and it's been 4 days now and she looks great. There are doctors do amazing things, especially with injuries and acute things. It's really the chronic problems like diabetes, where we just kind of fall flat. And so we were told never fast. And it turns out fasting is the best thing a human being can do, that there is nothing better, because you have two different types of metabolism, or the chemistry of your body. You have the catabolic metabolism, which is when you're breaking down, when you're active and you're alert and you're doing stuff, and you're typing on, and people get carpal tunnel or typing all the time. Why do they get carpal tunnel? Well, because they never go into anabolic mode. And anabolic mode is when you're repairing and rebuilding and fixing all your tendons and everything that you've been wearing out while you're doing everything every day. So how do you get into anabolic mode? Well, an empty stomach is very important. You make a hormone called ghrelin that releases human growth hormone that initiates all this repair process. And so having an empty stomach, and that's where the 6-10 reset comes in, where you stop eating by 6 o'clock so you can have an empty stomach when you go to bed at 10 o'clock, so that you can make the human growth hormone and repair and cleanse your body. So all of those cleanse, detox, repairs happens when your stomach is empty. So, and remember that type 2 is toxicity. What are you toxic on? Well, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins primarily. And so if you get rid of all your carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, what are you doing? You're fasting, essentially. So that, and that allows, it changes the metabolism to the repair metabolism, to anabolic metabolism. And that's why fasting is so good for you. And for anybody, not just with type 2, everybody in the world can benefit from fasting, even children. It's amazing.
That is amazing. I don't know. It'd be a tough sell for my kids, but I get it.
Okay, kids, we're not eating today. What?
Yeah, right. This is a really good question from Susanna. She had been asking some questions. She was just found out that she was pre-diabetic. You had talked a little bit about testing to figure out why she was pre-diabetic, and she wants to know, she said her doctor didn't really help a lot. Where should she go to get testing done to figure out what's going on?
Oh, wow. So we did a webinar on testing and which tests to do. And I think we posted on there a list of tests that should be done.
You know what, actually, and if you want that, I don't know if we posted it there, but if you want that, email me, because I have that in an email form from you. I don't know if I posted it anywhere else. So you can email me, Leslie at Barton Publishing, and I'll send that to you for the list of tests.
Yeah. And so you just bring that list into your doctor and say, I need these tests. I need to find out what type, why I have diabetes, and why I'm not overweight, and I exercise and I still have this pre-diabetes, and because knowing how the pancreas is functioning and why that's happening. There are other things. Make sure you get the fat. I think I've included that. The triglycerides, if your triglycerides are elevated, it might mean that eating a high fat diet makes you insulin resistant. And so some people, if they're eating a lot of fat, can do that.
Okay. We have a question here from Diotha. I hope I'm saying that right. It says, I recently received blood work where my microalbumin creatinine maybe ratio came back with a value of 338, which is high. What can I do to bring it back down, and what caused it? There's more of a question.
That's a great question. So we're talking about urine here. And we're talking microalbumin is the small proteins that are leaking through the filters of your kidneys. So normally you have this filter and the blood comes to the filter, and it's kind of like a coffee filter. All the coffee grounds stay on the top side of the filter, and then the fluid leaks out, and things that are dissolved in the fluid like salts and all that go through it. And then the kidney cleans all that stuff out. So that's how the kidney works. But you've got, someone took your coffee filter and poked a bunch of holes in it, like with a pin. And so you get these coffee grounds coming out into your coffee. You're going, how did all that get in there? Well, it's because your filter had holes in it. So that's what's happening in the kidneys, is the filter has holes in it. So your next question for me is, why does the filter have holes in it? Because it's not repairing. And that's, we were just talking about fasting, the 6-10 reset. What does that do? That repairs. It repairs your body. And so the other part of why it's not repairing is that it's not getting enough blood supply. And you go, wait a minute, that's the blood coming into it. No, that's the blood that it's filtering. It actually has its own blood supply, its own capillaries in there to allow it to, the cells in there to regenerate and repair. And so if you have high blood glucose for a long period of time, then the kidneys stop repairing and they start getting holes in the filters. So the best way to deal with that is with the diabetes solution kit. Get your blood sugar down, because what you need is that the glucose transport proteins to increase, and you get that by getting lower blood sugar. So you want your blood sugar to be under 90, like between 70 and 90 would be great if you could do that. And so if it takes, being on phase 1 for a longer period of time, then whatever that takes. And that's going to be the best way to, first of all, prevent your kidneys from getting worse, because once, it's kind of like a coffee filter. Once you've poked holes in it, it's kind of hard to repair that, right? They're going to leak through the little holes. But I've seen some cases where the microalbumin does improve, but most times it doesn't. So really what you're talking about here is you want to prevent kidney failure. You want to prevent dialysis. And so this is the way to do that. Getting the blood sugar down to normal, and allowing the kidneys to start repairing those filters.
Some other notes here say that my A1C is at 6.5, and I've been on the program for several months, just so you're aware. It says, thanks for all the helpful information. I'm also still on phase 1. My doctor doesn't agree with me following the program, but the program has given me so much relief learning how to understand my body and how it actually functions. So that is awesome. Good for you.
It would be interesting to know where he started. 6.5 is still, it's on the diabetes, but it's right on the edge. So 6.4 is non-diabetic, it's pre-diabetes, and 6.5 is diabetes. So that gives you an idea of where that 6.5 is. Yes. But if you started at 12, then that's an amazing jump. If you started at 6.7, then that's not amazing, but it's still good.
Yeah. Yes, let us know. Okay, let's see, one more question here. How can you improve poor blood circulation?
Oh, wow. This is so important. Blood circulation is the most, well, gosh, not the most. There are so many things that are the most important, but most of the illnesses that we have, since we don't get infectious diseases and all that, like if you look at back pain, neck pain, fibromyalgia, migraine headaches, abdominal pains of all kinds, abdominal symptoms, nervous stomach and all that stuff, knee problems, joint replacements, all of that is due to lack of blood flow. So poor circulation. And so poor circulation is very important, especially if you have diabetes. That's really important. And that's kind of what we were talking about with the kidneys too. If you have poor circulation through the kidneys, they don't repair. If you have poor circulation to your joints, they don't repair, and you end up with a joint replacement. So how do you improve your circulation? I don't know. I've studied this a lot, and there's no magic bullet, but I can give you some ideas. The first thing to look at, there was several series of books written by John Sarno, MD. So he's did a lot of research. He's a physiatrist, which is a rehabilitation specialist. And he was seeing people with back pain, and they would find, oh, you have a slipped disc. And they'd go to surgery to repair their slipped disc, and they'd come back and they'd still have the same back pain. He's like, what the heck? The surgery doesn't seem to be doing anything. And indeed it doesn't. When they looked at the research, they're going, oh yeah, the back surgery doesn't help at all. People end up with the same pain anyway. So he started looking at why it happened, and he found that the cause was poor circulation. And then he went to the next level. So why do they have poor circulation, and why right there? And he found there were emotional causes, because the autonomic nervous system is controlled by our emotions. How do you know that? Well, if you're embarrassed, what happens? Your blood vessels dilate in your cheeks, and you get embarrassed, you get red cheeks. That's purely an emotional cause of dilation of blood vessels. Well, actually, emotions can constrict blood vessels too. If you have anger, rage, he called it rage, that you haven't dealt with, that you haven't forgiven somebody or something like that. So I've had several people read through his books and find that they were able to get rid of their back pain and poor circulation, and were able to improve their lives in various ways. So even like migraine headaches, abdominal migraines, all those kind of things, and joint pains and stuff like that. So another thing to look at is thyroid. If you have poor thyroid function, low thyroid, which often comes from adrenal glands, which is the stress hormones, which is back to, at least for some part of it, is the emotional problems, maybe. So if your thyroid is not functioning well, then you get decreased circulation. If you're under a lot of stress, you get decreased circulation. And so you can work on the emotional part. There's another thing that I've done a lot of research on recently, and that is contrast, where you do breathing exercises, and you breathe in deeply, and then you hold your breath for a while. And there's a program, it's Wim Hof, WIMHOF, and his website is Wim Hof Method. And he does breathing exercises and cold therapy. And what that does is supposed to give contrast to the autonomic nervous system. And part of what it does is improve circulation. And so you can completely get rid of fibromyalgia, back pain, poor circulation. So those are some ideas. It's not the whole thing, but those are things that I've been working on.
I love it. My husband has kind of struggled with like Raynaud's a little bit. And so he's really kind of digging into some of Wim Hof's methods and finding out a lot about himself as well. And he's starting to really feel a lot better. So kind of fun. Okay, here's a really good question. This is coming from Joe. Are we ready? What do you think are the top 3 contributors for why type 2 diabetes continues to grow in America and throughout the world? And what can we do to reverse this trend as a nation?
Wow, top 3. Okay.
Just a little question.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. There was Well, okay, it comes down to, I guess, I'm just going to make it simple. Really, lifestyle issues. Um, as uh, as life changes, as we get more of automation of everything, people don't need to do as much. You know, me, I'm sitting on a chair all day long in front of a computer, talking to people. And most people now have thinking jobs instead of working jobs. And that's like that trend is more and more as everything, even like bakeries are automated these days, where machines do everything. They knead the dough and throw it in there, and they divide it up into their little, and then it goes on the conveyor through the ovens. There's nobody actually, doing anything anymore. I just watched a video recently on that automation. Um, so there's less activity because there's less activity required. It used to be that everything was done by muscle power. Whether you had a horse muscle power or physical men muscle power, everything was done by muscle power. And so pretty much most people, that's what they did all day. They used their muscles. Well, since we don't have to do that anymore, gosh, we have to force ourselves to use muscles and go out and do something. So this morning I got up and I was ready to go in and take a shower, and I thought, oh, I should do my exercises. So I had to stop, put it aside, and actually, go out of my way to do exercises, just using my muscles for no good reason at all, except to use the muscles, right? I'm not accomplishing anything. I'm not building anything. Nothing's going to come out of that. Just doing push-ups, right? And doing chin-ups. That's not accomplishing anything except to build my muscles. And so that's part of it. Another part is food. As we get more processed food, we things that taste good, especially. Then we get too many calories, and it's so easy to get too many calories. I mean, if I was like a stay-at-home dad or something, I would probably be really fat because I love food. I'm a foodie, and I'll do something for a minute and go, oh, I'm gonna go to get a snack. Now I'm going to get a snack, and then I'll do something for a little while, and then I'll go, oh, I'm going to get a snack. Well, in my office, I don't have any snacks. I don't buy any on purpose. So I don't take in too much, so I don't get overweight. But so we take in more calories than we need, and we're not burning calories, and that's only two. And then the third reason is actually really good too, and that is, as human beings are less connected to each other, as we have fewer connections, as we're going through COVID and everyone's wearing a mask and keeping 6 feet apart, but not just in that, but in everything, in our families, in our communities, as there's less connection, there's more stress. Less connection equals more stress. More stress equals more insulin resistance and more diabetes. So when Dean Ornish, Dr. Ornish was doing a bunch of research on heart disease, and he said we can reverse heart disease by putting people on a no-fat diet. So it's like a very low-fat diet, a high-fiber diet, and I've talked about this before, but it wouldn't work unless they had the communities, the groups. So they have to, when you're doing an Ornish program, it's not just the diet. You have to actually get together in a group and talk and communicate and have some food together, and good food, of course. Those little cucumbers with a little cheese on it or something. I don't know. No, cheese has fat. It would have to be, gosh, a no fat thing. Just a cucumber with nothing else. So those three things would probably account for all of the increase in that we're seeing in type 2.
Yeah, that's great answer, and a great segue to my next little blurb here. We talked about this last week, but we're doing a health retreat for anybody that's interested in August, coming to Arizona and enjoying, 120-degree weather. No, but really, so this is a chance for us to get together and experience that community. We've got Velo and Barbie are registered and ready to go, and we need more people. we need a few more couples that can say, or individuals that say, yep, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest in my health. I want this community. I want to live this lifestyle 100% together with other people that I know and trust and love. And we're going to build friendships and community and accountability. We're going to be going on hikes and exercising and getting our sweat on together and sitting in, massage chairs and sitting around the table, talking with Dr. Saunders, learning, educating. We're going to be making food together, eating good food together. And then we're going to be fasting at night as well. After our last meal of the day, we'll go to bed on an empty stomach at 10 o'clock and practice that 6-10 reset. And I am personally guaranteeing this is going to be worth way more than what we're charging for it. And it might be the only time we ever do this. We'll have to see. But this is our pilot venture with this, and we're excited to do it.
I'm kind of excited about the discussions. I came up with a lot of really good discussion topics.
Yeah.
Kind of excited about that.
And we'll go beyond what we've ever gone into on these webinars here. So if you are interested, if you're feeling like, yeah, I probably need to do that, you need to send Leslie an email, leslie@bartonpublishing.com. She'll put it in the chat here. Send her an email, ask for more details, and we're gonna we'll get you that information. It's not cheap, but it's the value is going to be way more than what you end up paying for it because of the investment in your health. What is it going to mean to you if you can come away from that weekend feeling like on top of on your A game, like ready to tackle the rest of your life, to live your healthiest life and to experience life to the fullest? What's that going to look like?
It's kind of interesting. I was thinking about that as Leslie was talking earlier about how a lot of people come to webinars, and I've seen this. I've gone to all kinds of webinars and conferences for doctors and all of that, and they listen to it and they go over and over again, but never get started on. Never, I'm looking for motivation to get me started, and that happens a lot in business too. There are people who just frequent business seminars. They go from one seminar to another, but never actually go out on their own and make their own business, because they're looking for that motivation. And I thought, you know what, if you've been saying, I'm going to start this, well, I'll listen to the webinar, I'm going to start this. This is a great way to get started, is to have, like, we're doing it, you're there for a week or whatever, 5 days, getting it started. I think that's a great way to do it too.
So it's Thursday, August 18th through the 21st or 22nd. I think 22nd would be the travel day. So 3 full days together. And yeah, let us know in the chat too if this is something you're interested in, just so Leslie knows to be looking for your email. And we want to get a few more couples there together. We've got room for 5 or 6 couples, but we'll even do it if there's just one couple. We love the Garcias so much that would be a blast, but we want other couples too, because it's all about community and relationships and accountability and friendships. So it's going to be great. And good stuff. All right, enough for me. I got to go finish my leg workout.
Good.
That'll be another added benefit, is that you'll get to hang out with the 3 of us. You'll find out all of the fun things about who we really are. Now, we're all pretty much what you see is what you get. So But we really would love to hang out with you guys. These two guys are super fun. They're uber competitive. They're they're just fun. And when we get together as a team, just the Barton Publishing team, we have fireside chats with Dr. Saunders too, just like you'll get to do on this trip, because we all learn so much together. But then also we learn a lot from him, and we all have individual things going on in our lives, and so he gets to kind of speak into those. And yeah, it'll just be a really good time. And so we hope you can make it. Email me, Leslie at Barton Publishing, even if you have questions, and I can send you a video so you can see some more about what actually is going to happen. And once you see the video of the house, you're probably going to want to go. So I'll just leave it at that. Okay, let's get back to a few more questions. We are running out of time here, but I think we can do this. This is a really good segue, actually, to, a lot of people are thinking, oh, a retreat would be fun. Yes, we will relax and learn and spend time together, but also the goal really is for most people to maybe get off of medications. And so we have a question here actually about metformin. And it says, I've heard some negative things about metformin, but is it an effective medication for prediabetes?
Yeah, metformin is being studied for all kinds of things. We had a whole webinar on metformin where we just discussed, well, we were discussing longevity, and metformin was a part of that. They're doing research right now currently on using metformin as an anti-aging drug because of the way it works in inhibiting the cyclic AMP. So that it causes you to burn fat, and fat burning metabolism allows you to live longer because you make ketone bodies, but you're not eating meat, so you don't get mTOR. So anyway, we talked a little bit about why that was important and why they're using metformin for longevity. So in all of the research on metformin, there are a few cases of you've probably heard about rhabdomyolysis, which is the muscles breaking down and liver enzymes going up. And because that's a possibility, that was mostly with another drug in the same class that they took off the market. Metformin's pretty safe, and it works pretty well, and it's good for prediabetes. If you don't like it, or if you're having side effects, because a lot of people get nausea from it or they don't feel good on it, you might try something like the Synachroma or berberine. Berberine actually works in a different way, doing the same thing of causing your body to burn fat for energy, preventing you from using sugar and causing your body to burn fat, but it works in a different way. So you could actually trade it out for something like berberine usually, but talk to your doctor about that. Yeah.
I do get a lot of emails from people who are struggling with side effects from their medications. And that's a lot of times why people actually come to us and look for another option. And so I'm just thankful that we have another option. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we're going to run out of time. Okay. Let's see. Somebody's asking, how many hours should I fast and how often?
Okay. The more you fast, the better. That's, because while you're fasting, you're repairing your anabolic metabolism, you're cleansing, you're detoxing, you're taking out all of the dead cells in your body, you're taking out all the proteins that are building up, the tau proteins in your brain, preventing Alzheimer's disease. You're removing all of the cholesterol deposits out of your blood vessels. Everything good happens while you're fasting. So the answer to that is the more the better. So how does that look? Okay, let's look like with the circadian rhythm, and the reason the 6-10 reset is so important is because working with your circadian rhythm means you eat in the morning when you have high cortisol levels, and you don't eat in the evening when you have low cortisol levels, because food, especially carbohydrates and sugars, stimulate the adrenal glands, and you don't want that in the evening, because you want the adrenal glands low so that you can get the human growth hormones so you can repair. So how long do you fast? As long as you want to. Literally is what it comes down to. If you want to eat 1 meal a day, just eat breakfast. If you want to eat 2 meals a day, just eat breakfast and lunch. If you want to eat 3 meals a day, eat breakfast and lunch, and then have an afternoon snack. And if you want to fast, I had somebody come in with heart disease. I didn't tell him to do it. He said, I've been reading about this, and this is, and my cardiologist said, I'm going to die if I don't do this, if I don't get a bypass surgery, and I don't want a bypass surgery. So he did a 30-day water fast and completely reversed his heart disease in 30 days. And he was playing tennis, and still 5 years later has no chest pains, is doing great, no heart disease. Anyway, so yes, as much as you want.
It's good. Okay. Diothus says, I started at around, this is in response, you were wondering what her numbers were, I think, or I guess I'm not sure. I started at around 7.5, never higher than 7.7, but never lower than 7.0 until I started the program. Diagnosed about 20 years ago. I started taking insulin and metformin. I spoke to my doctor about getting off metformin. He just decreased it instead of taking me completely off. I look forward to getting off of both. God answer prayers.
Good work. That's awesome. So now she's what did she say? 6.7? 6.5. Yeah, now she's 6.5. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Good.
So yeah, that was a big jump. And I think, was it 4 months or 3 months? A few months, I think, is all.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Okay. Johanna says, I've noticed that from my ankles up to under my calf muscle, little red spots have appeared. Is that a circulation issue? Should I be concerned?
Yes, you should be concerned. Possibly, if it's on both sides, it's an indication of vasculitis, which is an inflammation of your blood vessels, and it's usually the veins. And yes, you should deal with that, because your circulation in your legs is really, really important.
Okay. Question about synochroma. Joe, I don't know if you're available, but if you have synochroma sitting there and you want to show that, someone is asking, what is the best time to take it, before, during, or after eating?
Taking it with a meal, just before a meal. Sometimes the minerals in it cause upset the stomach, but if you eat with it, it won't. So you can take it with the meal or after the meal. That's fine.
Okay. Can you turn it around, Joe?
Oh, you want to see this?
Yeah. So that's what synochroma looks like, guys. And we talk about this a lot. And I get so much feedback about synochroma, but you can find out more information at bartonwebinar.com. That'll take you to a link to all of our supplements, so you can learn some more about that. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. My doc gave me the result. This is from Roy. My doc gave me the results of my PSA test and told me to come back for a CBC test. Does type 2 affect my CBC numbers and my PSA test numbers?
It shouldn't make a difference.
Okay.
Your prostate specific antigen is very specific to the prostate, and the CBC is the complete blood count, and that's your bone marrow making all of your cells in your blood, like red blood cells, white blood cells, all your immune cells, platelets. That all comes out of the bone marrow. And yeah, to some extent, if your blood sugar is really high for a long period of time, it can suppress your bone marrow somewhat, but it's not much of an effect.
Okay. Let's see. David is wondering how much metformin will cause side effects. I take 500 milligrams of metformin per day plus berberine.
500 milligrams is a very low dose and probably wouldn't have any side effects. That's probably where you'd start. When people get to about 1 gram, that's 1,000 milligrams twice a day, that's where I see those kinds of side effects, which, by the way, often go away by themselves. If you just keep taking it for a week or so, then that'll resolve.
Okay. And Barbie was asking, can you take both metformin in a small dosage along with berberine if your numbers are a bit higher?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
All right. It sounds like berberine has a lot of amazing uses.
It's amazing. It works. It works against cancer, heart disease, diabetes. It's like an amazing herb. It's every time they research it, they go, "Oh yeah, it works for inflammation too."
Yeah.
It's like everything that it's tested.
I think I'm going to start taking
good.
it. I don't know what for, but I'm just going to start taking it. Okay, so that is it for today. Dr. Saunders, I know you have patients to see, so thank you again for joining us. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
I will really see you next week in person.
That's right. I'll be with you.
Thanks, Doc. Man, he's got.
Yes. So I think Joe had a comment here about the retreat. Joe, were you working out?
I was.
I mean, you're looking good, Joe. You can tell.
Thank you. I feel great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we are planning to do more retreats. The August retreat is our pilot one. We've discounted it because of the fact that it's our first one. We're going to be learning a lot, and also because it's in August because it's hot. But I wonder if I could find pictures. I'm going to look for that quick if you want to fill in.
One of the things to think about too, if you're thinking about this as an investment, there's so many things to consider, but also your food is covered. So that's always a plus, right? And really good food. And you're going to learn how to cook well. You're going to see how Dr. Saunders prepares meals and cooks, which he, this is his life. And it's just, I think it's just invaluable to get to spend time with him. And Joe, Joe has been doing this for a very long time as well. He's the one who knows what all our customers are saying, what's worked for them, what hasn't. And somehow I get to come along for the ride, which I'm really excited about. So we're going to get to meet all of you guys in person. And you can see the pictures here that Joe is sharing. And
this is a nice massage chair right here. This is a Sarah Gem massage table, which is amazing. And then this is a Power Plate My 7, which is a vibrational exercise machine. And yeah, those are awesome. Here's the kitchen. I think you saw the pool early on. We'll probably get back to that, but I got some artwork. The 4 donkeys, that represents my 4 sons. They're all pretty funny, but it's just a beautiful home, 4 bedrooms. We also rented another Airbnb like 2 blocks away. And so we've got 6 bedrooms available for all of us. And it's it's a beautiful place. Yes, it's going to be hot, but the pool will be nice and, 85, 90 degrees, enough to cool off, and plenty of places to just relax and rest and rejuvenate. So this is like a vacation as well. And it is truly a retreat. We've got little weights out there if you want to get some strength training in. Here's the nice big patio in the back. Beautiful sunsets to just outside here. Hot tub. We got some outdoor games. Fire pit here. So we spared no expenses with this place. It's currently out renting on Airbnb actually right now and getting a lot of really good reviews. So, but yeah.
They commented too, they weren't sure they'd be able to go hiking or do all the activities. You don't have to do that.
No, yeah.
Not something. Yeah, we want this to be enjoyable for you,
Yeah.
So if there's stuff you don't want to do, you don't have to. If you want to just chill or take a nap, that's cool.
Right. And a hike might consist of, 6 a.m., go outside and walk around the block a couple times or whatever, just flat. So,
right.
But yeah, so this is just a beautiful backyard. We'll be inside and outside enjoying all this. Like, this is one of my favorite little spots to go sit and have a cup of coffee and maybe read my Bible and journal a little bit and just enjoy the landscape, the birds, the weather. And I mean, hot weather, it's good for you. It helps your body detox. That's one of the things we talk about. Like You know what? I might try to get a cold plunge tub. I think we should do that. What do you think, Leslie?
I think
You've
that's a
done
good
some
idea.
of that. Yeah. So this is it. This is where we're going to be in August. Email Leslie if you're interested, and we'd love to have you.
You guys. I think
Yeah.
it would be so fun. You will not regret it.
Yep. I'll stop sharing my screen here. So there we go.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Anything else? Guys, we'll be back here same time next week. Email me right away, Leslie@bartonpublishing.com if you are interested in the retreat. I can get you more information and you can let us know your thoughts.
Susanna wants to know, how do you spell berberine? It's B-E-R. I've got it right here. B-E-R-B-E-R-I-N-E. So this is that focusing?
Sort of. Oh, almost. What brand are you using, Joe?
This is Vita Authority. I don't know. I just got it off Amazon, I think. So,
okay.
But we've talked about it enough. It might be something that we'll want to have Barton Nutrition come up with our own formulation and maybe add in a few other things that we've been talking about as well. So
I think so too.
You can help us decide that on the retreat. Hey, why not? Be part of the team. We might even pay you a little finder's fee or something if we end up going with it. You never know. We're like outside the box company. So
I'm hoping we can do some videos while we're there too. Like if you want to share with us about your story, or just maybe we'll do a little filming of us all hanging out. So you could be famous.
Oh yeah, sure. I hoping my son Cedric can join us. He's kind of our video guy, but he'll be coming right off of his honeymoon. So, but I think he's going to be able to do that. We'll see. We'll find out. But all right. Well, this has been great. Thanks everybody. And Leslie, nice work. And thank you for coming off your family vacation to do this. So come on, guys, give her a round of applause. Raise your hands on the Zoom. Give a little raise hand high five. Boom. Let's get those hands going again. Hit that raise hand button.
It's a beautiful 80 degrees here. We're in northern Minnesota. And so I don't even know where everyone is. We have quite a few people here, all of my husband's family. And this was the first year that everyone was able to come. All the cousins, all the grandkids. So very fun.
And I heard your father-in-law gave you your water bottle back, and you're claiming it's not your water bottle. You still think it's mine.
I mean, I'm pretty upset about this.
I'm pretty sure that I have mine. Amanda determined the way I put my stickers on is definitely not how you would have put the stickers on. So,
but it was.
Really?
Stickers the same, remember? That's why you grabbed mine.
I think one of them was this way and the other one was that way. So I don't know. Whatever. We could do a DNA analysis. It's not probably that big a deal. We can change the stickers around. Oh, yes. Where in northern Minnesota are you able to give it's kind of a top secret location, isn't it?
I can tell you where I'm near. I am near Detroit Lakes, if that helps, or Otter Tail County.
Beautiful. Go to Otter Tail if you haven't already. The Creamery. Have you been to their creamery?
Oh,
that's where the fire starters are at.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, you would love it. They have a little boutique there, and yeah. Anyways, if it's not too far, make the journey.
Right. Very cool.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, guys.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.